The police officer's voice was steady, but hers shook as she tried to answer. "Open your trunk, ma'am, and what's in that black duffel bag?" A pause, then a nervous laugh. It's just trash," she stammered. "I forgot to empty it." Her hands trembled as she reached for the keys. You could almost hear the car engine humming, and that single question echoing in your mind. Could that bag really be just trash? I'm David Stone, and this is the story of Sarah Walker and Lily Carson, two women bound by years of trust and late-night talks. But one ordinary roadside check would unravel a truth too heavy to hide. Before we go further, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos.
Sarah Walker and Lily Carson had known each other for more than a decade. They met through a mutual friend in college, stayed close through job changes, breakups, and moments most people never share outside family. Their bond was built on quiet understanding. Someone to answer the phone at midnight without asking why. Someone who knew your childhood stories without you needing to explain. Lily was the kind of friend who remembered every birthday, every small detail you mentioned months before. Sarah, in turn, was the person Lily trusted with her fears and plans for the future. But trust, when it breaks, never shatters cleanly. It leaves sharp edges. In the weeks before that roadside stop, Lily's messages to Sarah had changed. Short replies, avoided calls. There was something unspoken between them, something neither admitted out loud, and when the silence stretched longer, the events that followed became unavoidable. It was a Thursday evening when Lily was last seen alive. She had told a coworker she was going to meet Sarah for a quick catch-up, nothing unusual. Surveillance cameras later placed her car heading towards Sarah's neighborhood just after 7 p.m. What happened between that moment and the next morning was pieced together only through phone records and fragments of testimony. Lily's phone stopped transmitting any location data at 8:42 p.m. Sarah's phone, however, remained active, showing searches that investigators would later scrutinize. No one reported Lily missing immediately. Her absence went unnoticed until her younger brother tried calling her the next day and found her number going straight to voicemail. He called again and again. By the third attempt, he knew something was wrong. That was the first time anyone realized Lily had vanished without a trace. Hours later, a patrol officer would notice Sarah's car parked on the side of a quiet road. The patrol officer initially approached Sarah's car for what should have been a routine interaction. Her driver's window was halfway down, and the radio played faintly. She greeted her politely, but her eyes shifted between the dashboard and the rearview mirror. As his flashlight swept across the interior, he noticed the keys were not in the ignition. Something about her body language made him ask if everything was all right. "Yeah, I'm fine," she replied quickly. His gaze fell to the back of the car. "Pop the trunk for me, ma'am." She hesitated, glanced down, then slowly stepped out. When the lid lifted, he saw a black duffel bag wedged against the side. "What's in the bag?" he asked. Her voice cracked. "It's just trash. I forgot to empty it." The bag's shape was uneven, the zipper pulled halfway shut. Even before he touched it, he knew this was not something that belonged in the trash. The officer's fingers paused just above the duffel bag. He didn't need to open it fully. One glance at the contents was enough to change the tone of the encounter. He stepped back, his voice firm now, telling Sarah to stay where she was. She swallowed hard that said nothing. A second patrol car arrived within minutes. The trunk was photographed, the bag carefully unzipped. Inside was a blanket wrapped tightly around what appeared to be a human form. No one spoke for several seconds. Even the sound of passing cars seemed to fade. Sarah's hands were clasped together, knuckles pale, her breathing shallow. She was taken aside while officers secured the scene. By that night, detectives had identified the remains as belonging to Lily Carson. The questions began immediately. When had Sarah last seen her? Why was she in the trunk? Her answers would set the stage for a case that drew both shock and disbelief. Inside the interrogation room, the harsh light cast long shadows across Sarah Walker's face. She sat quietly, fingers nervously tapping the table, eyes flickering between the two detectives. "Why didn't you call anyone when Lily went missing?" one of them asked. It was calm but direct. Sarah swallowed hard, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't know what to say. We had an argument. I thought maybe she just needed space." The detectives exchanged looks. An argument. The second detective leaned forward. "Sarah, Lily's been dead for nearly 24 hours. You're the last person to see her alive. What really happened?" Her breath caught. "It got out of control. I never meant to." She trailed off, eyes filling. Every word felt like a fracture, a crack in the truth she'd tried so hard to hold together. The room seemed to close in, the silence louder than any accusation. And as the interview pressed on, the layers of their friendship, the secrets, the regrets, slowly unraveled.
The days before Lily disappeared were not as simple as Sarah had let on. Behind the facade of friendship, cracks had begun to show, deep ones fueled by secrets that neither woman wanted to admit. Sarah's boyfriend, Mark, had been spending more time away, claiming work stress, but texts discovered by Lily told a different story. They revealed late-night messages between Mark and Lily, not just casual conversation, but something far more intimate. Sarah had found out. The confrontation was inevitable, though neither expected it to turn so bitter. One night, the three of them met at a local diner. Tense words exchanged, accusations barely contained beneath forced smiles. Lily had confessed she still had feelings for Mark, while Sarah struggled to mask the hurt that now boiled beneath her calm exterior. Those moments left wounds no apology could heal, leaving a rift neither knew how to bridge. On the night of Lily's disappearance, anger and fear clashed with years of loyalty, pushing Sarah beyond her limits. The betrayal wasn't just about a boyfriend, it was about the shattering of trust between two people who once considered each other family. As investigators peeled back the layers, the tangled web of love, jealousy, and regret came into focus, painting a picture far more complicated than anyone expected. With the discovery of Lily Carson's body, the investigation took on a new urgency. Detectives combed through Sarah's digital footprint, texts, emails, location data, all under close scrutiny. They found inconsistencies in her timeline, small gaps that raised questions. Witnesses were interviewed, neighbors who heard raised voices late that night, co-workers who noticed Sarah's sudden coldness, even Mark, whose alibi was thin and whose reactions seemed guarded. As the pieces came together, police uncovered a series of deleted messages from Sarah's phone, fragments of a conversation where she pleaded with Lily to keep their troubles private. The investigation revealed a complicated portrait of friendship strained by betrayal and desperation. Forensics confirmed the time of death aligned with the last known contact between Sarah and Lily, leaving little doubt about what had happened. Still, the motives remained tangled. Was it a crime of passion, a desperate mistake, or something darker? Every new detail forced those involved to confront uncomfortable truths, and the community watched as a once quiet friendship became a tragic headline. Sarah Walker's arrest was swift once the evidence was undeniable. Handcuffed and silent, she was led from the police station to face the harsh realities of the justice system. The charges were serious: first-degree murder and concealing a body. In the days that followed, Sarah's life transformed from the familiar to the unfamiliar. Courtrooms, lawyers, and endless questioning replaced casual conversations and daily routines. The media swarmed, headlines painting a picture of a shattered friendship turned deadly. Bail hearings were tense, with the prosecution arguing Sarah was a flight of risk and her defense painting a picture of a woman overwhelmed by guilt and circumstances spiraling beyond her control. Through it all, Sarah maintained a fragile composure, her eyes revealing the turmoil beneath. Family members struggled to reconcile the woman they knew with the accusation she faced. The courtroom was no longer a place for stories of friendship, but a battleground where every word could tip the scales toward freedom or punishment.
The courtroom filled with murmurs and tense anticipation as the trial began. Witness after witness took the stand, friends recalling the closeness between Sarah Walker and Lily Carson, neighbors recounting that final night's raised voices, and co-workers revealing the strain they'd noticed in Sarah's behavior. The prosecution painted a picture of jealousy turned violent, highlighting the affair between Sarah's boyfriend Mark and Lily as the catalyst. Sarah's defense countered with a narrative of a woman pushed to the brink by heartbreak and betrayal, struggling with the relationship unraveling in front of her. When Sarah took the stand, her voice was steady but fraught with emotion. She spoke of years of friendship, moments of laughter and pain, and that night when everything changed. Her testimony revealed regret and the desperate attempt to hold on to control amid chaos. As lawyers debated and evidence was examined, the jury faced a complicated truth. Was this a tragic accident born of emotion or a calculated act? The courtroom became a place where every word weighed heavily, shaping the fate of two lives forever entwined. After days of testimony, the jury retreated to deliberate. Hours stretched into an agonizing wait for everyone involved, family members, friends, even strangers following the case closely. When the courtroom doors finally opened, silence fell like a heavy curtain. The foreperson's voice was steady but carried the weight of the decision. Guilty of second-degree murder. Gases rippled through the room. Sarah's face remained composed, but her eyes betrayed the pain inside. The judge spoke of accountability, but also of the tragic loss of a young life full of promise. Outside the courtroom, emotions ran high. Some expressed relief, others sorrow, and many grappled with the complicated reality of what had happened. For Sarah, the verdict marked the beginning of a new chapter, one of reflection, regret, and facing the consequences of that night. For Lily's family, it was a painful step toward healing, a reminder that even the deepest bonds can be broken beyond repair. The community, shaken, was left to ask difficult questions about trust, forgiveness, and the fragility of relationships. In the months following the trial, the ripples of that tragic night continued to spread. Lily's family faced a future forever marked by loss, finding small ways to remember her, not just as a victim, but as the person they loved. Sarah, now serving her sentence, began to confront the depth of her actions in quiet solitude. Letters from friends and family became her connection to a world outside prison walls, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is space for remorse and change. The community grappled with the story's complexity, discussing what happens when trust breaks and pain becomes too heavy to carry. It's a reminder that behind every headline lies a human story, flawed, painful, but deeply real. As you watch this story unfold, take a moment to think, how do we protect the relationships we hold dear? How would you react if faced with such betrayal? And most importantly, how can we find forgiveness, even when it seems impossible? Thank you for listening. Before you go, share your thoughts in the comments. Where are you watching from? And if this is your first time here, please subscribe so you never miss a story like this.
What part of Sarah and Lily's story impacted you the most? Why? Have you ever experienced betrayal by someone you trusted deeply? How did you cope? If you were in Sarah or Lily's shoes, how do you think you would have reacted? Do you believe forgiveness is possible in situations like this? Why or why not? What lessons about trust and relationships do you take away from this story? Where are you watching from? We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences.